Hey guys, welcome to Backstage with Millionaires. I'm Caleb, your host, and today we're going to be talking about OYO rooms backing out of yet another region of the world, the upcoming Made in India alternative to Google Maps, Tesla's manufacturing unit in Karnataka, TikTok India's potential acquisition by Glance, Renew Power's upcoming IPO, some acquisitions in the edtech space, all of the latest funding news, and more coming up right after this. All right, so first up in the news, we haven't talked about these guys in a while, but it looks like things for OYO in Latin America aren't going as well as they had hoped. So as everybody knows, SoftBank is the main investor in OYO. And some time back, they had invested $1 billion into OYO, and out of that $1 billion, $75 million was dedicated to OYO's Latin American unit. And the idea here was for SoftBank and OYO to co-manage 1,000 hotels across Latin America. This joint venture was established in September of 2020, but now SoftBank has decided to pull out. They're ending the joint venture, and they're also not going to be investing in OYO in that particular region moving forward. And so as a result, OYO is going to be laying off most of their employees in Latin America. Now, that doesn't mean that OYO is done with Latin America. It just means that they're moving to a digital-only model. So hotels will be able to keep the OYO name, but they'll have to run it independently, and OYO is going to manage things in the back end from India. Now, if you'll remember, back in 2019, OYO had claimed that they were the world's second largest hotel chain with 43,000 hotels on its platform and 1.2 million rooms. Now though, in 2021, almost a year after the pandemic started, it looks like OYO's hotels are about half of what they were in 2019. That's approximately 20,000 hotels, according to the Wall Street Journal. All right, next up in the news, have you ever noticed that Google Maps in India is a little bit unreliable at times? I first noticed this when I came to India a couple years back and I was hitchhiking across the country, and I would end up in these little towns and these little villages and realize that they weren't even on the map. And I kind of expected that over time things would improve, but the truth is that India is a very hard country to map. And so I'm not surprised that Google isn't able to give India the detail and focus that it needs. And that's where digital mapping solutions company MapmyIndia and its partnership with the ISRO comes into the picture. They are planning to work together to package their expertise, satellite imagery, and Earth observation capabilities into an app. Now, in case you don't know, MapmyIndia has been in this business now for over 25 years. This isn't some little scrappy startup that's partnering with the ISRO. This is a company that's been around for a while, and they've mapped something like 7.5 lakh villages across the country, as well as 7,500 cities. Now, will this app be able to compete with Google Maps from day one? It's hard to say, but I'm definitely excited to give it a try when it finally is released. What about you? Leave a comment down below and let me know if this is something that you're actually wanting to use, or if you're gonna stick to Google Maps or some other map solution, for example, Apple Maps. Oh, and by the way, these videos that we make every single week are on YouTube, right? That's a platform that is owned and operated by Google, and so we're always a little bit nervous to speak out against this company. So it would really help us out if you're watching this right now, if you could give this video a like, show YouTube and Google that you're enjoying this video so that it gets promoted more and more people can see it. Because I honestly don't know how talking about Google in a negative way impacts video performance. I'm not sure if it even is something that is considered by the YouTube algorithm. But either way, if you're enjoying this video so far and you like our channel, then please do like this video. Thanks. All right, next up in the news, we have gotten some much needed clarity on what Tesla's plans here in India are. When Tesla announced that they were entering the Indian market by setting up an Indian subsidiary, everybody was left wondering, where are these Teslas going to be made? Where are they coming from? And according to Karnataka's chief minister, B.S. Yediyurappa, Tesla is actually going to be manufacturing some of, if not all of its Teslas for the Indian market here in India. India. Apparently, they're going to be setting up a manufacturing unit here, which will help them to avoid India's hefty import tax. Now, my hope is still that at least one division of this manufacturing unit will be dedicated to manufacturing cyber auto rickshaws. I want to make this happen, guys. Like, let's get on Twitter. I think it would be so cool to see a cyber auto rickshaw. In fact, I made a cyber auto rickshaw emoji for our Discord server some time back. I think I'm gonna bring that in and make that an emoji option for Backstage with Millionaires members. So in case you like what you're seeing here at Backstage with Millionaires and you wanna financially support us, make sure to hit that join button. You'll be able to find out everything about the different perks that are offered at different tiers of this membership, as well as the pricing for the membership. All right, next up in the news, according to a Bloomberg report, Glance, which is the company that owns short video app Roposo, is in talks with ByteDance, which of course is the company that owns TikTok. According to this report, these talks are about an acquisition by Glance of TikTok India's business, which has all but been shut down. Last month, they laid off about 2,000 employees. And so if Glance were to acquire what remains of TikTok India's business, it could potentially give them an edge in the short video app space. The two companies, Glance and ByteDance, share some common ground in the fact that they both have received investment from SoftBank. But that doesn't necessarily mean that such an acquisition would be a simple process. If talks progress, then that could mean that the Indian government would step in and make sure that user data and technology from TikTok is kept within India, which would be in contradiction to China's new rules, which restrict the export of certain products and technologies out of China into other countries. All right, next up in the news, one of India's largest renewable energy companies, Renew Power, is looking to go public in the United States through an SPAC. By merging with RMG Acquisition, which is the SPAC in this case, Renew Power would be able to go public at a valuation of $4 billion. Now, in case you don't know anything about SPACs, they're special purpose acquisition companies with the exclusive goal of helping other companies to go public. Basically, when an SPAC is created, it raises funds from investors, and then it usually takes about 2 years to find a target company with which to merge. Once the SPAC merges with this target company, which in this case would be Renew Power, the new merged company is then successfully listed on the stock market. Now, the reason that the SPAC IPO route is becoming more and more popular for companies like Renew Power is that it saves them both time and money. I think that the average amount of time that it takes a company to go public is about 18 months or so, and so merging with an SPAC will actually significantly reduce that amount of time. And then because the sole purpose of an SPAC is to take its target company public, it also saves the target company money because the people who are running the SPAC know exactly what they're doing. They've done this before, they have experience, they have connections, and so going public with an SPAC is actually far less expensive than doing it yourself. This is obviously a major simplification of how the process works and why it's done, but it looks like Renew Power is not the only Indian company that's planning to go this route in the near future. Apparently, Grofers is also looking at taking the SPAC IPO route in the United States as well. All right, next up in the news, consolidation in the edtech space continues as Unacademy has made its 7th acquisition in the last 12 months by acquiring a majority stake in Tapchief. Tapchief is an online platform that enables professionals to interact with experts and work with businesses. Unacademy is going to be integrating Tapchief into Unacademy Pro, which according to Gaurav Munjal, who is the founder and CEO of Unacademy, is a platform that helps you become a pro and get your dream job. Now, talking about Tapchief, they already have more than 150,000 professionals on their platform who have completed more than 50,000 gigs with Fortune 500 companies, small companies, and startups. Now, Unacademy isn't the only edtech company that is aggressively pursuing an inorganic growth strategy right now. Byju's is apparently in talks with Topper for an acquisition that would be worth $150 million. Topper is an edtech startup that helps students in preparing for competitive exams so that they can get into colleges. Moving on to some funding news now, digital lending startup KreditBee has raised $75 million in its Series C round from investors like Premji Invest, Mirai Asset Venture, Alpine Capital, and Arkham Ventures. Also, I think it's worth noting that KreditBee's Chinese investors have cut their stakeholdings from 40% to 10%. Xiaomi has exited the company completely, while Shunwei Capital and Kunlun have reduced their stakeholdings. KreditBee offers personal loans ranging from 1,000 rupees to 2 lakh rupees for periods between 2 and 15 months. The lending platform currently has a user base of 20 million users, and they're going to be using these fresh funds to expand their borrower base. Their goal is to provide credit to 180 million new users who don't currently have access to formal credit. Alright, next up in the funding news, e-commerce logistics aggregator Shiprocket has raised $27 million from Tribe Capital, March Capital, DST Global's Rahul Mehta, and Bertelsmann India Investments. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about what Shiprocket actually does because we already made a video with one of the co-founders of the company, Sahil Goel. You can check that out up here. But at the moment, they're enabling more than 100,000 merchants to make more than 4 million shipments every single month. The company became profitable in 2019, and they currently have an ARR, that's an annual revenue run rate, of between $50 and $60 million. They're going to be using these fresh funds to hire talent across product and engineering roles, and also to expand globally. Alright, next up in the funding news, neo-banking startup Zolve has raised $15 million from Accel, Lightspeed Venture Partners, Bloom Ventures, Founder Collective, Kunal Shah, Ashish Gupta, who is a former MD of Helion Venture Partners, Greg Kidd, who is one of the co-founders of Global ID, Rahul Mehta, and Rahul Kishore, who is a senior MD at Kotu Capital. So Zolve is an interesting company because they've only been around now for 2 months, and their target customer is Indian people who are moving to the US who might have a great credit score here in India, but find it difficult to get a credit card in the United States. This is because local banks don't consider your credit score from another country. They'll only look at your American credit score. So Zolve's job is to help these Indian people who are shifting to the United States to access banking services and build up their credit score in the United States. At the moment, they have more than 5,000 individuals on their platform, and they've already achieved profitability. They're going to be using these fresh funds to tie up with more American banks, and then a little bit later on, they also want to expand their services beyond the United States to other regions where Indian people typically move to, like the UK, the Middle East, and Canada. Alright, next up in the funding news, I've got a couple of unconfirmed funding news topics to share with you. First of all, Swiggy is apparently in the final stages of raising a $600 million round from Qatar Investment Authority, GIC, and Falcon Edge. Next up, we've got Meesho, which apparently is in the final stages of raising a $250 million round from SoftBank at a $2 billion valuation. Then we've got an online shopping platform for baby products called First Cry, and they're reportedly looking to raise between $150 and $180 million. And then finally, we've got medicine delivery startup PharmEasy, which is apparently looking to raise $200 million from Prosus Ventures. Alright, that is all the startup news that I have for you guys this week. I hope you enjoyed the video, and like I said earlier, it would really help us out if you could hit the like button, and if you haven't already subscribed, now would be a great time to do so. We post new videos every single week about Indian startups, entrepreneurs, and the latest news. Also, as usual, big shout out to all of our Backstage with Millionaires members, our unicorns, and our decacorns. Your financial support means a lot to us, and I hope you guys enjoy these 2 new emojis. And of course, to everybody who made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching this episode of Backstage with Millionaires, and I will see you in the next one.